Hello listeners, and welcome to this week's recording of Boomerang. Team 6 is here this week and is made up of Heather, Marcy, Jessica, Margaret, and our engineer is Gordon. The news this week is taken with permission from the West Lothian Courier, dated the 23rd of October 2025. As usual, the news will be broken into parts, and can I remind you that when you've listened to the whole recording, please post your wallet back to us from a postbox and not the post office. Before we start, I have a piece of information for you which you may or may not be interested in, but it's from the suppliers of our players. It's a company called Synaptic Limited and they're based in Durham. We stress that this is not an endorsement of their products. However, they do carry a large number of items specifically designed for anyone with a visual impairment. They currently have an offer of 10% off phones and tablets. Their contact details are as follows. Telephone number 0191 909 7909. The email address is sales@synaptic.com. I'll spell Synaptic. It's SYNAPPTIC. And their website is www.synaptic.com. And you can go on there and have a look at what items they have that might be of benefit to you. So we'll now start with part 1, which is general news. And the lead item on the Courier this week is by Michael Pringle. Rock bottom to role model. Transforming lives after addiction. A West Lothian man who fought his way back from drink and drug problems has been recognised for his outstanding voluntary contributions to football in the community. John McKnight, founder of Falthouse United Sundays, has been honoured with 2 prestigious Scottish FA Grassroots Awards. The National Award for Volunteer of the Year in Adult Football, as well as East Region Volunteer of the Year in Adult Football. John, a 36-year-old former pro youth player who lost his way in life due to alcohol and drug issues, launched Falthouse United Sundays back in February of this year. His plan was to offer adults in recovery, those rebuilding their lives after addiction or trauma, and people seeking a second chance, a place to belong at the newly formed football club. His vision has become a movement for change in West Lothian. Every Sunday, players from across the region take to the pitch, supported by their families, friends and the wider community, proving that football really can transform lives. Falthouse United Sundays have played 10 games so far this season, winning 9 of them, suffering their only defeat at the weekend. Players are aged from 17 to 42. On receiving the awards presented by McDonald's and the Sunday Mail, John said, "What a dream from a young boy running the streets of Eldrick Crescent with a ball in hand to the National Stadium. So humbled and grateful to be on this journey and being able to do it all through football. There's no better reward than helping others. I believe I have truly found my calling." As a talented youngster, John set his sights on making the grade as a professional footballer. He played for Scotland as a schoolboy and for Alloa, but was let go at the age of 19, and his life took a downward trajectory. His weight ballooned to around 18 stone before he got back into football a couple of years ago. John's proud partner, Leanne Watson, said, "John was out of football for 8 years due to drink and drugs. He was at Alloa and let go and just went down the path of wreck and ruin. He's only been back playing football for the last 2 years. He started off with a couple of games of 5-a-side with guys in recovery, and it grew arms and legs. He plays junior football on a Saturday. He's a Falthouse United player on loan to Edinburgh United just now, and he coaches on a Sunday. He's got the players doing cold water therapy and gets them out running, eating farm to fork, and is just creating a different lifestyle for the laddies. John's story is quite unique. He's been the whole 9 yards with full-on criminality. We're in the middle of a drug epidemic in West Lothian. Some of the guys in the team have been on similar journeys and have been in recovery. They're different ages and at different stages. They've turned their lives around. The awards recognise the dad of two's outstanding contribution to football and community well-being. He added, "I've faced it all. Addiction, crime, mental health, suicidal thoughts, depression, the thought of not being good enough, being in and out of prison all my life, the fear of always being stuck in my old life and never being able to break free and live a normal, loving life. This is for anyone out there struggling with anything in life. If I can do it, so can you. It's never too late. Believe in yourself and work hard. Good things will come." One Falthouse United Sundays player added, "The positivity around this football club is contagious. It rubs off on everyone who invests in it, whether that be players, management, volunteers or fans. It's a safe space and it's so important to have that. Everyone has their battles and demons, but it's the strength in numbers that helps us through it." Paul McNeill, head of community football at the SFA, said, "John gave a very humbling and heartfelt speech during the awards. It was so inspiring to hear about someone not only turning his life around, but then doing something to help others." John's story and the journey of Falthouse United Sundays has been captured in a powerful short film by the Scottish FA, celebrating his achievement and the impact of the team's football recovery community ethos. Watch at www.vimo.com/1124686705/EAL1516C. And now over to Marcy.
Council budget cuts will hit communities. Stark choices over schools, buses and public services by Stuart Somerville. West Lothian residents have been warned the council are facing stark choices that could include school closures, cuts to the school week, ending subsidised bus services and the closure of public libraries and toilets. The potential cuts have been outlined in a public consultation as the council looks to prepare its budget for the next 2 years. And it highlights the potential for cuts across the board in jobs and services, as well as increasing charges, as it asks for public help to identify where it can cut 23 million from its spending in the next 2 years. The underlying message is blunt. Doing nothing is not an option. There are no easy decisions. The document adds, "We will be guided by your views." The consultation published on Thursday asks residents, staff and partners to share their views on how the council should respond to the financial challenge. Staffing cuts, recruitment freezes and service mergers could potentially save £940,000. The document identifies the potential savings that can come from wider use of technology and AI and potential income generated from raising charges for services. It also details savings options which address long-term challenges facing the council, including how services will react to changing demographics, falling birth rates and an ageing population. This could see school closures. Ahead of that, among the biggest potential savings could be made in schools with changes to the school day and the way children learn, teacher contact time with pupils. Savings of more than £5 million a year could be made, but proposals will face stiff opposition from teaching unions. Closing standalone library buildings and other council buildings and toilets is also an option. Most likely in the firing line is the extensive list of services the council provides for which it receives no government funding. These non-statutory services provide the bulk of savings identified by officers. Standout among the potential cutbacks include 2.2 million in subsidised bus services, 1.5 million in support for the voluntary sector and community regeneration, 1 million on school buses, 1.1 million on youth clubs and youth outreach support services, 1.4 million on advice shop services, and 1.8 million on education, business development and support. The lengthy list of non-statutory services also has potential savings in ground maintenance, salting paths in winter, school music lessons and funding Christmas lights. Other services identified include broadcasting of council meetings and even funding for gala days. Many have been introduced before, only to be scrapped after public outcry. The consultation says, out of the council's total annual revenue budget of £545 million, £503 million is spent on statutory services and the remaining £42 million is spent on non-statutory services. It is important to be aware that a number of these non-statutory services help to improve lives and are considered vital to many people. With this in mind, there may be options to reduce or change spending in non-statutory services. The consultation will run from today, yesterday, to Sunday the 16th of November. Earlier this week, Councillor Pauline Stafford and the deputy leader of the Council's opposition SNP group voiced concerns about the consultation. After the Council's executive meeting on Tuesday, she told the local Democracy Reporting Service, "My concern was a general one regarding the time frame if the results are only reported through special PDSPs after the 13th of January. I don't think that gives enough time for the responses to be properly taken into account for the budget setting meeting. Legally, the Council must balance its budget, so ways to save money must be found and agreed. People can take part in the consultation via the online website of the Council. The Council emphasised that no decisions have been made at this stage. The measures are only proposals. Graham Hope, the Council's Chief Executive, said, "We want to work with our community, staff and partners to ensure that the Council becomes more sustainable, addresses the funding challenges and meets the needs of our communities. The Council has a limited number of options in terms of what choices can be made. Legally, the amount a council spends on services must be the same as the funding we receive. That is a statutory requirement, and after years of insufficient levels of funding provided to councils, combined with a huge increase in demand for some services, there are no easy choices. It is vital that the local community, our staff and partners have the opportunity to consider the proposals set out by officers and are provided an opportunity to have their say. I would encourage residents to take the time to consider the information in the consultation and provide feedback." And over to Jessica.
Leader turns on opposition, an article by Stuart Somerville. West Lothian's Labour leader turned on the opposition SNP group in the wake of a failed no-confidence vote. Lawrence Fitzpatrick branded the special meeting calling for the vote earlier this month as a move designed to wreck a stable minority Labour administration, and he accused the opposition group of cynically spreading disinformation as council officers worked to keep community centres open. His rebuttal came after Councillor Janet Campbell, the SNP group leader, claimed during the meeting that Labour no longer have the moral authority to lead this council. The SNP had called the special meeting because they had attempted to raise a motion calling for debate on the future of community centres brought before the full council instead of just the Labour-dominated executive. The motion was ruled out under Standing Orders, the Council's operating rules, first introduced by the SNP when it was in power in 2007. Councillor Fitzpatrick, who has served as a councillor since 1999, said, "West Lothian Council is nationally recognised as a high-performing council. In a move designed to wreck the council's stable minority Labour administration, the nationalist SNP opposition group tried to win a vote of no confidence in administration. the Nationalists have cynically sought to undermine the Council's effort to keep open community centres by spreading disinformation, while the Council continues to work hard with local community centre management committees to ensure a sustainable future for the centres. No community centres will close. He added, "This is not an easy path to tread and has been brought about by the Nationalist Scottish Government, who have cut the Council's budget by £184 million in the last 18 years. That included a 10-year council tax freeze. The SNP Scottish Government continues to wage war on local councils struggling to defend services to the less well-off in our local communities. In my 26 years serving on the council, I have never witnessed such a depth of pure cynical posturing by the local SNP. They should be helping local councils deliver good public services, not seeking to undermine genuine efforts to manage a challenging agenda." With 12 councillors to the SNP's 15, Labour has led an administration out of Livingston Civic Centre since 2017 in a loose confidence and supply coalition backed by the Tories and Independents. In the current council, Labour has 11 members since the resignation of Whitburn's David Russell. Councillor Campbell reminded the meeting that she had offered to work across the chamber in a coalition with the Labour group following the last election in 2022. This offer had been rebuffed. After the confidence vote failed, Councillor Campbell told the Local Democracy Reporting Service, "We brought this motion because residents and volunteers have been in tears over the way their community centres have been treated. Unfortunately, the Labour-Tory administration chose to close ranks. By voting down our motion, they have ignored the voices of local people and signalled that they are content to continue making decisions behind closed doors." And over to Margaret.
Exciting time as membership CLARs rise. An article by Michael Pringle. West Lothian Leisure, Excite, has reported a large increase in Access Excite membership over the last 2 years. The numbers signing up are up by almost 46%. During that time, reflecting the charity's growing success in making physical activity more affordable and accessible for West Lothian residents who need it most. The Access Excite scheme provides reduced price opportunities for groups such as older adults, people with disabilities and those on low incomes. Delivered in partnership with West Lothian Council, the Access Excite membership offers a range of affordable memberships and activities across its venues, reflecting West Lothian Leisure's commitment to creating healthier, happier and longer lives for communities in West Lothian. The surge includes a 21% increase in the last year alone, with over 118,000 concessionary visits recorded in 2024-25. Alongside this growth, the charity's latest Impact Report 2024-25 shows West Lothian Leisure received over 2.6 million visits to its venues and generated £20.2 million in attributable social value, a 40% increase on the previous year. In addition, West Lothian Leisure experienced a 26% increase in exercise referrals to its health and wellbeing programme. This growth in social value demonstrates the direct link between increased participation and tangible improvements in community health, wellbeing and quality of life across West Lothian. The figure calculated using the nationally recognised social value calculator, that's 4.0, reflects the measurable health, well-being and community benefits created through participation in physical activity. The data was collected through a 4 global analysis commissioned by West Lothian Leisure. The charity's work supports outcomes across physical health, mental well-being, reduced social isolation and enhanced community cohesion. In specific health areas, the organisation's activities contributed just under £161,000 of value from reduced GP visits, just over £690,000 of value linked to reduced depression, $659,000 from reduced type 2 diabetes risk, and $227,000 from reduced physiotherapy needs. West Lothian Leisure operates on a not-for-profit basis, reinvesting income into community programmes, facility improvements and innovative new services such as AI-powered gym equipment and family-friendly fitness initiatives. Ben Lamb, CEO of West Lothian Leisure, said, "We're incredibly proud that more people than ever are being active with us, particularly those who benefit from our Access Excite membership and concessionary access schemes. Working closely with West Lothian Council, our mission is to make sure that cost is never a barrier to good health. Every visit represents a step towards a healthier, happier and longer life, and together those visits are creating millions of pounds of social value for our communities. This growth shows how vital our work is in supporting both individual well-being and wider public health across West Lothian." To access West Lothian Leisure's 2023-24 Impact Report, visit flippingbook.com/view. And there's two photos that come along with this article. One is a variety of folk, obviously in one of their leisure centres, all doing different things. And another photo is of older people. It looks like they're doing exercises while sitting on a seat. And over to Heather.
And that brings us to the end of part one. Controversial housing project back before council is an article by Stuart Somerville. Plans for a huge new housing development on the fringe of Whitburn are set to return to West Lothian Council. Developers at the Heartlands site, which covers the former Polkemmet colliery, pulled proposals for almost 2,000 new homes just a day before they were supposed to go to councillors. Now the plan put forward by Greentown Heartlands Limited, which outlines 1,600 new homes, will have to go back to a meeting of the full West Lothian Council because of the size of the development. The full Council Planning Committee meets only rarely. The last time it was convened was in 2023 to consider proposals for housing on a site at Brotherton Farm between Polbeth and Livingston. No reason was given when the plan was withdrawn. It was scheduled to go before the full Council Planning Committee the next morning because of the size of the planned development. The site lies south of the existing Heartlands, about a mile southwest of the town centre in Whitburn. The development covers 192 acres of land, including partly remediated former Polkemmet colliery land. A small portion of the application area falls outside the local development plan allocation, but remains within the original planning permission boundary. Surrounding land uses include residential areas, vacant brownfield land, former mining land, agricultural fields and an industrial estate. Planning permission in principle for the Heartlands site was initially granted in 2016. The proposal includes around 1,600 homes, a 3.78 hectare neighbourhood centre with potential for a public house, retail units, community and health centres, start-up office space and land for a possible new primary school. The plans also feature open spaces, sustainable drainage systems, landscaping with retention of some existing trees and hedgerows, and new roads and infrastructure. Planning officers have recommended refusal of the application, saying it contravenes the existing LDP. While a new LDP is being drawn up and will not be available for another 2 years, new national planning guidelines have since overtaken the initial proposals for Heartlands. In a report to the councillors, planners said, "The proposed application is contrary to the development plan. Firstly, the transportation impacts are deemed unacceptable and cannot be adequately mitigated. These policies emphasise the importance of minimising transport impacts, promoting walking and cycling, and ensuring infrastructure is capable of supporting development. Secondly, the proposal would have a negative impact on the amenity of the surrounding area. LDP policies require developments to avoid adverse effects on the local community, promote active travel, and ensure public safety. New national planning guidelines stress that developments should contribute to creating healthy, pleasant, and well-connected places, prioritising pedestrian experiences. The increased traffic, particularly in the town centre, would negatively affect local residents, pedestrians, and cyclists. An initial application of planning in principle was submitted in 2021, and the reports which accompanied it are now considered out of date. The application is also lacking an up-to-date and full flood risk assessment. There is no date as yet for the plan to return to committee. Now over to Marcy.
Reach for the skies. The Space Dome has landed at the Centre Livingston, where visitors to the shopping centre can enjoy a 360 degrees planetarium film experience. Created by the astronomer Z. Denali, visitors to the centre can take part in the science-themed activities, including handling a 4.6 billion-year-old Campo del Cielo meteorites from Argentina. The free event, which will take place from October the 18th until Monday, October the 27th, is located beside Waterstones. It is designed to provide an immersive, educational and fun experience where you can learn about natural astronomical objects, including stars, planets, the moon, asteroids, comets and galaxies, and meteorites that reveal the ancient geometry of the solar system. There will also be a virtual reality zone with headsets and astronaut costumes for children to embark on their own virtual solar trip, and inflatable space props. For more details, check the Centre Livingston website, www.thecentrelivingston.com, and social channels at Shop the Centre, and the photograph beside it has 4 very excited children in their spacesuits. And over to Jessica.
Pharmacy's advice. West Lothian residents who suffer from skin conditions are being advised that they can seek help from local pharmacies. Medical experts have highlighted that there are some nasty skin viruses that can be very painful and will affect at least 1 in 4 people at some point. These include shingles, an infection of a nerve caused by the same virus as chickenpox, which can last 2 to 4 weeks and is generally treated with painkillers such as paracetamol and antiviral medication that the pharmacist can prescribe if necessary. While shingles often affects older people, impetigo is the most common skin condition in children. People with impetigo should seek urgent advice from their local pharmacist if symptoms change or get worse. While complications are rare, they can be serious. And over to Margaret.
Tributes to a man who died in horror crash, an article by John Paul Clark. A man who died in a horror crash that left 2 others injured in Livingston has been named locally. The one vehicle smash involved a grey Audi A6 and happened at around 8:30 p.m. on October the 10th at the junction of Knightsbridge, East Road and Lindsay Way in the West Lothian town. Emergency services scrambled to the scene, but Craig, fondly known as Judo Dan, aged 35, the driver of the car, was pronounced dead at the scene. Cops said his next of kin have been made aware following the crash. Another man, 24, and a 17-year-old boy who had been passengers in the car were rushed to the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh for treatment. The road was closed for several hours following the incident, while police investigations were carried out and reopened shortly before 5 a.m. on October the 10th. Tributes flooded in for Craig following the crash. Colin McNeil posted on Facebook, "R.I.P. Craig Judo Dan, thanks for all the laughs. Gonna miss you, mate." Lorraine Henney said, "So sad, I hope the other boys are okay. R.I.P. Judo." Audrey Cafferty Marshall wrote, "Gone too soon, Craig. R.I.P." Lee Adjson posted, "Devastated, rest in peace, cars." Gordon Prentice commented, "I bumped into Craig regularly and kept trying to get him back up to train. So sad." Sergeant Christopher Bright from Police Scotland has urged anyone with information to come forward. He said, "Our thoughts are with the family and friends of the man who died. Our inquiries are ongoing to establish the full circumstances, and I would appeal to anyone who may have witnessed anything around the time of the incident to please contact us." In addition, anyone with dashcam footage is asked to get in touch as they may be able to assist. Contact 101 or Crime Stoppers via 0800 555 111 with any details. And over to Heather.
And now some family intimations. Catherine Lawson, Uphall Station. Peacefully with her loving family by her side on Tuesday the 14th of October 2025, Cathy, loving daughter of the late Jim, and Cathy Kavanagh, beloved sister to the late David Kavanagh. Funeral service will be held at Uphall North Church, Ecclesmachan Road, Uphall, on Monday the 27th of October at 1 p.m. Thereafter to Loning Hill Cemetery, arriving 1:45 p.m, to which all family and friends are respectfully invited. Family flowers only, please. Jane Sutherland Mackenzie, Espy. 2nd of December 1950 to 1st of October 2025. Passed away at St John's Hospital, Livingston, on Wednesday the 1st of October 2025, aged 74. Jane, beloved wife of the late Harry Maver Mackenzie, much loved mum to Hazel, Lilia, Aki, Charlotte, Janice, Corinne, John Ross, Siobhan, and the late Andrew, an adored great-gran, auntie, sister, and friend to many. Jane will be sadly missed by all. A funeral service will take place on Wednesday 29th of October at 10 a.m. at Thomas Brown Funeral Home, thereafter to Loning Hill Cemetery, and all are welcome to attend. And an in memoriam, Frank George Reiki, 23rd of October 2012. Always in my thoughts, forever in my heart. Love and miss you more each day. Your loving wife, Elaine. And now back to the news. Fireworks worth £100,000 seized. An article by John Glover. Cops have seized illegal fireworks worth as much as £100,000 from business premises in West Lothian. Police Scotland raced to Schoolhouse Industrial Estate near Addiewell to execute a warrant at around 11:30 a.m. on October the 15th. Cops confirmed that they had inquiries into the fireworks are ongoing, estimating them to have a street value of between £70,000 and £100,000. It comes as shops have started selling the decorative explosives for consumers to light up their gardens ahead of Guy Fawkes Night on November the 5th, which has seen in the past a spate of antisocial behaviour from youths. Detective Sergeant John Irvin said, "It is an offence to buy, possess or use fireworks without a valid licence. Anyone found selling or using fireworks illegally may face fines, seizure of the items and potential prosecution. The misuse of firearms presents a significant risk to the public and can result in serious injury, fires and damage to properties. We remain committed to working with partner agencies to ensure everyone's safety. I would ask anyone who knows about the illegal sale or use of fireworks to report it to Police Scotland by calling 101. It comes as Edinburgh and Glasgow City Council have both created fireworks exclusion zones, which bans residents from using them for their own pleasure. Residents in these zones will have to attend a community organised event which has been approved by the local authority. The control zones are hoped to reduce disorder following several years of police attending incidents across Scotland in riot gear to deal with youths playing with the explosives, which has seen more than 62 officers injured since 2023. And now over to Marcy.
West Lothian cycling map is published by Ross Thompson. The new West Lothian cycling map produced by Spokes has just been published, centred on West Lothian, but now expanded west to include parts of Falkirk. The fully revised and updated map shows new cycle infrastructure and other developments across the area. It is invaluable for cyclists and walkers seeking safe routes to shops, work or school, and planning running and leisure routes. The back of the map shows a large-scale street map of Livingston, Armadale, Whitburn, Bathgate, Blackburn and Linlithgow, together with information on places of interest in the area. The map is printed on tear and water-resistant synthetic paper, fully recyclable, and is available through bike shops, selected bookshops and direct from Spokes. Local Spokes volunteers surveyed all of West Lothian plus Bowness and parts of Falkirk and Grangemouth, while West Lothian Council provided information on new and planned active travel improvements. Major revisions to the map include adding contours and hill colouring and shading so users can see the hilly areas at a glance, and all the new housing developments are now shown. On October the 11th, members of Spokes gathered at the West Lothian Bike Library in Livingston for the official launch of the new map by Kirstine Sullivan, Labour MP for the Bathgate and Linlithgow, and Peter Heggie, Deputy Provost of West Lothian. Graham Burton, Design Engineering Manager, West Lothian Council, updated attendees on planned active travel projects in the local authority area, including Whitburn, Bathgate and Fauldhouse. Printing of the map has been supported by West Lothian Council. Catherine Taylor of Spokes praised the volunteers involved. She said, "This has been a great voluntary effort by local Spokes members and by our skilled cartographer. The new map will help residents and visitors find their way around the area in an active and healthy way, as well as showing new quiet routes and shortcuts they didn't know existed." Kirstine Sullivan, Labour MP for Bathgate and Linlithgow, continued, "It's always a pleasure to support Spokes and its work to promote the best routes for active travel. The new West Lothian cycle map is a fantastic resource for residents across West Lothian and Falkirk, helping cyclists and walkers find safer and greener routes to work, school and for leisure activities. This kind of voluntary effort in active travel plays a vital role in working towards healthier communities and a cleaner environment. A huge well done to all volunteering involved in delivering the updated map." Peter Heggie, Deputy Provost of West Lothian, added, "I was delighted to attend this launch event and hope that people from West Lothian and beyond enjoy using this new map to explore our county." The new West Lothian cycle map is available from local bike shops for £7.50. There is a special introductory offer for orders direct to Spokes on office@spokes.org.uk before the end of October. Buy a single map from £7 post free, or 6 copies for £25. More information on all Spokes maps and sales outlets is at www.spokes.org.uk/Spokes -maps. And over to Jessica.
Monsoon store opens at Designer Outlet by Nicholas Malizia. A designer outlet has opened at a West Lothian shopping centre, marking the brand's third Scottish location. Bosses from the Livingston Designer Outlet have announced that Monsoon has joined its lineup of designer and household name brands. Monsoon is an exciting addition to the centre as it continues to strengthen its high-end fashion category. The beloved British fashion brand will offer a stylish collection of women's and children's clothing featuring quality fabrics, thoughtful design and versatile pieces perfect for autumn, all at outlet prices. This marks the third monsoon location to launch in Scotland, alongside stores in Edinburgh and Glasgow. There are also a plethora of stores across the UK and Ireland, including London, Newcastle, Dublin, Belfast and Birmingham. The store's arrival in West Lothian will give shoppers even more choice from one of the UK's most recognised high street fashion brands. With a high street presence spanning 5 decades, Monsoon is synonymous with contemporary, timeless apparel. The arrival represents the continued flow of exciting brands at the outlet, with the recent upsizes of Calvin Klein and Lacoste, along with the new Columbia store. Michelle Whitelaw, Centre Director at Livingston Designer Outlet, said, "We're delighted to be opening Monsoon here at Livingston Designer Outlet. The Centre's premium brand offering is continuing to grow as we provide our customers with designer brands and internationally recognised names. We're in an exciting period at Livingston Designer Outlet with 2 other high-profile brands in Columbia and Ravensburger opening their doors. We can't wait to welcome our customers into the centre to discover the new offerings." And over to Margaret.
Early year service hailed. Almond Valley MSP Angela Constance visited First Steps, a long-standing early year service in Livingston, where she met several parents who shared their personal experiences of the vital support they receive. The First Steps has supported children and families in Livingston for over 30 years. However, concerns about future funding from West Lothian Council have caused uncertainty among parents and staff. A petition to protect the service has gathered more than 600 signatures. Angela said it was a privilege to meet with Sharon and Sandra at First Steps, along with many of the parents who took the time to come along and share their experiences. I heard firsthand how cherished and important this service is, not only for the children but for parents too. First Steps is a crucial service that has transformed countless lives. And over to Heather.
MP backs annual costume appeal by Schoolbank. Livingston MP Gregor Poynton has backed the Schoolbank West Lothian's annual Halloween costume appeal. The kind politician donated new costumes and trick-or-treat bags at the charity's Broxburn drop-off point. The initiative collects new, once-used and good-quality pre-owned Halloween outfits and redistributes them to local schools and community groups, ensuring that every child can join in the fun of dressing up, taking part in school events and going guising with their friends. Over the years, the appeal has helped hundreds of local families and made sure no child feels left out because of cost or circumstance. Speaking after the visit, Mr. Poynton said, "Every year, the Schoolbank West Lothian does incredible work supporting local families and helping children feel included. Their Halloween costume appeal means every child can join in the fun, take part in school activities and go guising just like their friends. Thank you to everyone who's donated this year, and your generosity really makes a difference to children and families right across West Lothian. The Schoolbank West Lothian promotes inclusion by recycling and redistributing pre-loved clothing and essentials to children and families in need. The Halloween campaign has become a much-loved tradition supported by schools, businesses and community groups across the area. Anyone wishing to donate a costume can find their nearest drop-off point by visiting https://schoolbank-westlothian.org/drop-off-points.
Avoid being fined. West Lothian residents are being urged to act ahead of a critical tax return deadline at the end of this month to avoid being fined by HMRC. Advice Direct Scotland, which runs the free advice service taxadvice.scot, is reminding those filing a paper version of their self-assessment tax return that the form must reach HMRC by midnight on October the 31st. Late filed returns incur an automatic £100 fine, regardless of whether any tax is owed. Longer delays face increased penalties, with daily fines and interest charges added for persistent lateness. This deadline applies to the 24-25 tax year, which covers income earned between the 6th of April 2024 and April the 5th, 2025. The cut-off date is set by HMRC to allow it to process the paper forms ahead of the online tax return deadline, which falls at the end of January 2026. People in West Lothian who would like help or advice on filling in their paper return ahead of the deadline can speak to an advisor at taxadvice.scot by calling 0800 756 3381. The service, which launched last year, is backed by HMRC and designed to help people and businesses in Scotland understand their tax obligations. The reminder comes after recently published figures show that fines for late tax returns cost Scots around $5.5 million a year.
Welcome back to part 3, which includes the quiz. Remember to listen in at the start of part 4 for the answers. So, there's 6 questions, and the first question is, what is the capital of Haiti? A. Havana, B. Santo Domingo, or C. Port-au-Prince? Question 2. What does the word verboten mean? A. Forbidden, B. Lost, C. Sad. Question 3. Which British Prime Minister died in office in 1865 and was succeeded by John Russell? A. Palmerston, B. Peel, or C. Disraeli? Question 4. Which pop group is singer Marty Pellow associated with? A. Snow Patrol, B. Wet Wet Wet, or C. Ultravox? Question 5. In which borough of New York is Harlem situated? A. The Bronx, B. Brooklyn, C. Manhattan? And question 6. Who played Daniel Spud Murphy in the 1996 film Trainspotting? A. Ewan Bremner, B. Ewan McGregor, or C. Robert Carlyle? And now back to general news. More access to gritting salt for sites. Article by Stuart Somerville. More rural sites in West Lothian will have access to gritting salt this winter to help keep roads and pavements clear. 6 more sites across the county will be added to the list drawn up by Operational Services ahead of the winter programme, which launches at the end of the month. The council has more than 30,000 tonnes of salt stockpiled. The winter treatment programme has to cover 648 miles of public roads and more than 860 miles of footpaths. Councillors at this month's executive lobbied to add areas to their wards. Conservative Angela Doran-Timpson made a plea for Uphall to have a salt pile set up. Uphall is being left out, she told the meeting. She was followed by Labour's Danny Logue, whose constituents in Pumferson, Uphall Station and Mid-Calder had also asked for access to salt piles. Council leader Lawrence Fitzpatrick proposed extra salt for the A71 through Polbeth, Longridge and Stonyburn, subject to suitable sites being determined by Operational Services. Questioned by SNP Deputy Group Leader Councillor Stafford on supporting evidence for the changes, Councillor Fitzpatrick said he was making the motion on the basis of complaints from the communities and representations to local members, and on the clear understanding it can be contained within the operational budget. Ross MacDonald, a senior engineer with roads operations, outlined the plans to the executive. He said, "We're good to go for October 30th. A report to the executive detailed funding has again been made available to provide 2 dedicated crews, which will be allocated to replenish grit bins on an ongoing basis throughout the winter period, similar to the last 4 years. The strategic self-help salt pickup points will also continue as noted in the Winter Service Plan. Those two services were introduced following the approval of a £1 million Winter Resilience Fund by Council on the 25th of February 2021. However, it should be recognised that additional funding will be required for these services to continue beyond the 2025-26 winter period. It added, delivery of the winter plan means delivery of the winter plan rests with roads and transportation. However, additional resources are utilised from NET's land and countryside services to provide robust and flexible rotas. Trained HGV drivers from other service areas are also available should the need arise. A framework contract is also in place, allowing the engagement of external resources and equipment if required. The gritting teams will again rely on separate weather forecasts for the north and south of the county. This allows resources being deployed appropriately, providing an improved service to areas in most need. The gritter tracking page will be available on the Council's website. This allows users to view the gritters deployed, providing up-to-date information on the location of the vehicles. A full list of salt pile sites around the county will appear on the Council's website. And now over to Marcy.
Disappointment as Rat Run misses out on road safety work by Stuart Somerville. Residents in a West Lothian street plagued by speeding drivers have missed out on road safety works for a second year. Neighbours in Glen Crescent, Livingston, raised a petition last year to be included in the Council's annual £250,000 road improvement projects because of speeding drivers using their street as a rat run. That came after the tragic death of a pet dog, sparking safety concerns for local children. But a new study revealed that the street doesn't meet strict criteria to meet accident reduction demands. Local councillor Alison Adamson said she was really disappointed at the decision. Last year, one of the street's residents, Roddy Hill, called on councillors to support traffic calming measures in his street. He and his neighbours saw more and more cars using Glen Crescent to avoid using Glen Road, an arterial road in Deans, which has speed bumps. Mr. Hill's dog Milo died after being struck by a speeding driver, and Mr. Hill voiced concerns to councillors that a child could be killed. The dog's death in April last year followed a series of near misses and incidents where residents had seen cars clipped and property damaged. Glen Crescent is clearly marked with green ringed advisory 20 mph signs and lined with driveways and parked cars. A report to the executive said, officers have carried out an appropriate investigation for the area detailed in the petition. Using the same methodology as this casualty reduction programme, it was found that proposed traffic calming measures, as requested by the petition, cannot be justified at this time. After the executive agreed on new speeding plan for this year, Councillor Adamson told the local Democracy Reporting Service, I am really disappointed that the Glen Crescent traffic calming measures requested by local residents in a petition have been refused. Whilst I appreciate the investigation report, the data and monitoring over one day, the evidence is not matched by the lived-in experience of the residents. Near-miss incidents are not reported on or recorded by many of the constituents. We're able to identify a large number of dangerous situations where they witnessed near misses. Sadly, a loved family pet was killed in the street. It could just as easily have been a child. Speed was the cause in that case. The residents want to slow traffic down on the stretch of road and dissuade rat-running motorists who try to avoid the traffic calming on Glen Road. I will continue to pursue this situation on behalf of the residents who are quite rightly disappointed that their plea for help has been rejected. They have identified a dangerous situation. The executive heard that $250,000 will be spent on road safety improvements around the country, including rural roads around Linlithgow and Ecclesmachan, Whitburn, 3 Mile Town and in Ladywell, Livingston. The work ranges from new and replacement warning signs costing around £5,000 to major resurfacing costing in excess of £100,000. Councillors including Lib Dem Sally Patel and the SNP's Pauline Orr both expressed concerns that more areas couldn't be included and more couldn't be done to make the roads safer. Councillor Patel suggested roads officers address local area committees to hear of specific problems, and Councillor Orr said constituents had deep concerns about the Ecclesmachan Road. Fellow Linlithgow Councillor Labour's Tom Conn told the meeting that roads officers could only spend the money where they were given by Transport Scotland and through the Council's capital spending allocation. If more money needed to be spent, then more had to come from Holyrood, he said. And over to Jessica.
On the beat with local area commander, Chief Inspector Elaine MacArthur-Kerr. Darker nights see criminals presented with opportunities to strike on homes and cars. It will be obvious to everyone that we are now reaching that point of the year where it's getting darker earlier and for longer, and as such, criminals operating within West Lothian are presented with opportunities to operate under the cloak of darkness to commit offences. This means that taking appropriate security measures to safeguard your homes and vehicles is of paramount importance, particularly when you go to bed for the evening or leave your property unoccupied. Simple steps like closing your blinds and curtains and not having your valuables on display make your home a far less appealing target, while investing in things such as motion-activated lighting, alarms and, if at all possible, CCTV or doorbell cameras drastically reduce the likelihood of you falling victim to housebreakings. Similarly, if you are leaving your vehicle unattended, then please ensure it is locked and any valuables are either removed or hidden out of sight. If possible, park in well-lit areas and be wary of any suspicious activity from individuals who may be looking to jam your car's smart key signal to prevent it locking and then gain entry to steal it. We have a range of advice aimed at helping prevent crime at your home or involving your vehicle available on our website at www.scotland.police.uk. We are now just a week away from Halloween and 2 weeks away from Bonfire Night, meaning our local plans are in the final stages to ensure we have appropriate resources in place to respond to any fireworks-related incidents or reports of antisocial behaviour that may arise during this period. I'm pleased to say that West Lothian has not been adversely affected by disorder in the same way that other regions have over the past few years, but that does not mean that we're immune, and we will have sufficient numbers of officers deployed to keep communities safe and gather evidence to identify anyone responsible for crimes involving fireworks or illegal bonfires. We will also be able to bolster our resources through Police Scotland's National Public Order Response, Operation Moonbeam, highlighting the benefit of being able to flex national resource locally and quickly whenever it is required. Please help us keep Bonfire Night a safe and enjoyable event for all of those who wish to participate and a peaceful evening for those who don't. I want to finish this column by highlighting some recent success in tackling retail crime within the region. During September, we charged 15 people with over 60 offences. Sergeant Lee Brodie and PCs Bob Montague, Scott McCulloch and Liam Arbuthnot played a vital role in addressing shoplifting in the Livingston area. While on foot patrol within Livingston Shopping Centre, the officers received reports of thefts from various stores in the area. Acting swiftly, they arrested 3 people who will now be reported to the Procurator Fiscal. My officers will continue to work alongside retailers and the Retail Crime Task Force to combat and reduce these offences. Shoplifting is not a victimless crime, and we remain committed to protecting both. And over to Margaret.
Nathan Evans Nathan Evans' school visit. Wellerman hits right note with kids. It's an article by Ross Thompson. A special afternoon of live music featuring music star Nathan Evans hits the right note for 2 West Lothian schools. Pupils from Letham and Riverside Primaries enjoyed a joint Craigshill concert of music and song recently. The special guest was Nathan, the former postman from Airdrie, who sprung to fame during the pandemic for his performance of sea shanties. His version of the Wellerman was a huge international hit, and Nathan has since forged a career in the music industry. Nathan shared with the children the inspirational story of how he began singing and playing guitar from a young age, and took part in a fantastic question and answer session. Each class also had the chance to get their picture taken with Nathan. Letterman Riverside head teacher Angela Downey said, "Huge thanks for Nathan Evans for giving our pupils a truly unforgettable experience." Nathan's music and kindness lit up our hall for the afternoon, reminding us that we are all capable of great things when we put our minds to it. One of his lyrics, "There's magic where the flowers grow," reminded us all to dream big and believe in ourselves. His visit was a wonderful part of our Craigshill concert, where we proudly ticked off listening to live music from our Passport of Experience, which is a key part of our rich and engaging curriculum at Letterman Riverside Primary. Nathan will be teaming up with St. Phoenix for a huge concert at Glasgow's OVO Hydro this Saturday night. And there's various photos here of Nathan with the different classes, all looking very happy, and one of them singing to the children. And of course, the teachers have got into it as well. They've got a photo with Nathan. And over to Heather.
Electrifying award win for Callum, article by Michael Pringle. A talented young man who came from down under to settle in West Lothian has proven he's a bright spark by being crowned Scottish Joint Industry Board, SJIB, Apprentice of the Year 2025. Electrician Callum White from Livingston took home this year's top title, which is presented in conjunction with Edmondson Electrical after impressing judges with his technical ability, professionalism and exceptional attitude towards learning and improvement. Callan, who works for HF Electrical Limited, moved to Scotland from Melbourne, Australia as a teenager. He was also presented with a £1,000 voucher as part of his prize, recognising his achievement in a highly competitive field of finalists. He completed his apprenticeship with West Lothian College, supported by Scottish Electrical Charitable Training Trust, SECTT. Training officer Jim Burrell, and achieved an impressive 97% in his final integrated competence assessment earlier this year. "I'm absolutely delighted to have won this award," said Callan. "My apprenticeship has been full of challenges, but it's also been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. To be recognised by the SGIB among so many talented peers is a huge honour. I owe a lot to the team at HF Electrical, my lecturers at West Lothian College, and to Jim Burrell for all the guidance and support they've given me throughout my training." Gary Muir, line manager at HF Electrical, added, "Within weeks of joining us, it was clear Callan was going to be a success. He's got an experienced head on his shoulders and a real drive to learn and improve. His work has always been of the highest standard. Even in his first year, he was producing the quality of a third or fourth year apprentice. All our engineers wanted to work with him, which says everything about his ability and attitude." Since qualifying, Callan has continued to excel and is now one of the most sought-after electricians in our team. We're incredibly proud of what he's achieved. The 26-year-old received his trophy from SGIB Chair Jock Simpson at a ceremony held at the Edinburgh Marriott Hotel, Holyrood. Catherine Gillen, Secretary of the SGIB and Director of Employment Affairs at Electrical Trade Association Select, said Callan stood out for his exceptional performance, dedication and willingness to go above and beyond, qualities that perfectly reflect the standards we want to see in our future electricians. His success is a testament not just to his own effort, but also to the ongoing commitment of his employer, college lecturers and training officers. As Scotland continues its transition to net zero, our apprentices play a vital role in delivering the skills and innovation the country needs. Callan and others like him represent the bright future of an industry that is essential to a modern, sustainable society. Founded in 1969 by Select and Unite the Union, the SGIB continues to regulate relations between employers and employees, promote skills and competence, and support ongoing progress across Scotland's electrical sector. This year's competition also saw Ewan MacDonald, 22, from Inverness, and Duncan Lucy, 24, from Kilmarnock, named as finalists. Ewan works for Rossshire Engineering Limited and trained at UHI Inverness under SECT training officers Graham Kell and Ian Lamont, while Duncan works for Ronnie Duncan Electrician and studied at Ayrshire College under training officer Daniel Flanagan. All three finalists were presented with gift vouchers by Darren Coppola of Edmondson Electrical. Edmondson Electrical, one of the UK's leading electrical wholesalers, serves Scotland from more than 37 locations, supplying contractors, engineers and public bodies across the county. And now over to Marcy.
Villagers reject council hall plan. West Lothian villagers have been the first to reject council plans for the future of its community hall. Answering to a September the 5th deadline, the villagers who run Turficken's community centre refused to sign up to any option. They were quickly followed by those in suburban Muirston, who also refused to agree to proposals for the management of its community centre, comparing the options to choice of the firing range or the noose. A spokesman for the Turficken villagers said, "The council have pushed us into a corner. Proposals for more than 30 community centres across the country come before the council early next month. The majority face being taken on and run by the council with increased costs for lets. Management committees lose control of the centres under these plans, and some, such as Bathgate, have decided to dissolve. In Turficken, with only around 700 residents, the centre is the heart of the community life. In a letter, the villagers state, "These community centres offer the last affordable community gathering and social spaces in our towns and villages. For Turficken, it offers an after-school club, archery class, Zumba, dance school and Pilates. It also provides space for our many social events and annual gala. With the proposed increase in rates, these groups will be lost to the village. Without these centres, there is a real risk to further erosion of our social hubs and spaces that contribute to the health and well-being of our communities." In its response to the council, the village's Community and Education Centre Management Committee said, "We see ourselves as a vital conduit between West Lothian Council and the user groups and people who rely on this resource for their health and well-being. To remove this link would seem short-sighted and foolhardy, only leading to the decline and ultimate closure of our community centres in West Lothian. We then lose a precious and irreplaceable resource, which further erodes our access to community resources. Council takeover of the centre could see usage costs rise to £45 an hour, more than 4 times the current charge rate. From Leafy Muirston in southern Livingston, the response has been equally robust. The trustees of the Muirston Initiative SCIO, which runs the community hall, said, "None of the options work for Muirston Village Hall, and we do not agree with the fallback council operating model as proposed." The community was keen to try to take a 2-year lease of the village hall to give time for Muirston Community Development Trust to investigate community asset transfer options. However, hurdles stood in the way, including lack of road access for deliveries and disabled use, unexpectedly high energy costs, the age of the building and the expected £200,000 worth of remediation work needed within 5 years. And over to Jessica.
MSP Constance mocked for conference claim. An article by David Walker. Angela Constance, MSP for Amman Valley, has been mocked for insisting she never misses SNP conference after skipping the summit 2 years ago. The Scottish Government Justice Secretary is the Nationalist convener, but was only appointed to the role in October 2023 after the conference was held in Aberdeen. She posted a new Instagram video earlier this month where she stated that there's one appointment I never miss, SNP conference in Aberdeen. It is a callback to her earlier viral clip where she said the one appointment she never misses is with her hairdresser in West Lothian. That video was mocked on Reddit, with Miss Constance an avid TikToker as well. She has been overseeing the SNP conference in 2025, but that wasn't the case in 2023 when she skipped the Aberdeen event, missing 2 crime and justice fringes while justice reforms were going through the Scottish Parliament. Her sister title, the Scottish Daily Express, previously exclusively revealed that she had not attended the conference, saying, "Mystery surrounds the secretive SNP after the party refused to answer questions about the non-appearance of a key government minister at their conference in Aberdeen." Delegates in the North East were graced with the presence of every cabinet secretary except for 2. While Deputy First Minister Shona Robison got her excuses in early after contracting COVID, the Justice Secretary Angela Constance was also bafflingly missing from proceedings. Miss Constance replaced Kirsten Oswald as SNP convener a month after this conference, meaning she now plays a key role in the summit. Police Scotland funding and issues with cops being called up to give evidence were also debated in 2023, and the same concerns were raised in 2025. A Scottish Labour source said, "It seems Angela Constance's memory is as short as her party's record on delivery. She may have forgotten missing SNP conference in 2023, but Scottish voters won't forget the SNP's failures when they go to the polls. Maybe instead of spending time on gimmicky videos, she should focus on the chaos in her justice brief and the real issues that are facing people across Scotland." The SNP has been approached for comment. And over to Margaret.
And welcome back to part 4, where we have the answers to the quiz. Question 1. What is the capital of Haiti? And the answer is Port-au-Prince. That was C. Question 2. What does the word verboten mean? And the answer was A, forbidden. Question 3. Which Prime Minister died in office in 1865 and was succeeded by John Russell? And the answer was A, Palmerston. Question 4. Which pop group is singer Marty Pellow associated with? And the answer was B, Wet, Wet, Wet. Question 5. In which borough of New York is Harlem situated? The answer is C, Manhattan. And question 6. Who played Daniel Spud Murphy in the 1996 film Trainspotting? The answer was A, Ewan Bremner. And now over to Margaret.
More signs of accident black spot. An article by Stuart Somerville. West Lothian villagers have been promised more signage at a dangerous accident black spot bridge ahead of the winter months. But a promised resurfacing of the road through Harburn will have to wait to combine with other improvement schemes of the rural road. Local Community Councillor Alan McLaughlin said villagers were grateful for the work already done and the drop in accidents. Kenneth Brown, the council's roads network manager, told a meeting of the Faulthouse and the Breath Valley Local Area Committee that anti-skid resurfacing planned for both sides of the approach to the railway bridge had been combined with another plan to resurface the road from the edge of West Calder up the crossroads of the C19 road where the Dogs Trust is located. These will minimise the amount of time the road is closed as the work is carried out by the same contractor. Mr Brown added, Some improvement works, including new road markings and an adjustment to make signage more visible, is now complete at the bridge. Villagers had to deal with a spate of accidents at the bridge, a humpback bridge with a near 90-degree turn on its southern side. Last year saw motorists hit the crash barriers on the southern side or career down an embankment on the northern side. Another driver from the Midlands sailed over the top of the crash barrier in his transit van and landed in the field. Some were hospitalised, but no one was badly injured. Villagers told the local Democracy Reporting Service that they have had to tackle around a dozen accidents in Harburn over the year, as many drivers unfamiliar with the blind bend and narrow railway bridge came to grief in accidents ploughing off the road. The narrow winding B7008 road has become much busier in recent years. Some now believe that in-car sat-nav systems direct drivers along the road as a shortcut to the A70 Langwang Road from Livingston, because for most of its length it carries the 60 miles per hour national speed limit. Speaking at this month's local area committee, Mr McLaughlin said, "I'm very grateful on behalf of the community for the work that was done following the spate of accidents we had last year. 2 specific things were promised: high visibly yellow background to the speed limit signs and an anti-skid surface. We have had a good summer, but as the saying goes, the nights are drawing in and visibility is going to be reduced. It would be beneficial to at least get the signs up." Mr Brown said that it made sense to include this resurfacing in with the wider improvement works in terms of having to close the road, but officers could look at pulling forward the new signage for the bridge. Chair of the committee, Councillor Craig Meek, said, "While the delay in getting the resurfacing work done is regrettable, it makes sense to roll it into other work to avoid disruption, but I'd appreciate it if we could look at bringing forward the signage at the very least. The village has been accident-free, which I'm grateful for." And there's a photo alongside the article, and it's of the transit vans that went over the barrier, sitting in the field. Now on to another article. Outlet set to mark milestone. This is an article by Ross Thompson. Livingston Designer Outlet is celebrating 25 years since first opening its doors, and there are some fantastic offers up for grabs to mark this significant milestone. From October 24 to 26, there will be a huge range of offers to celebrate the 25-year landmark, with special 25-themed discounts throughout the outlet. Shoppers can pick up a whole host of deals, including 25% off outlet prices in brands like Cosmetics Company, Kurt Geiger and Timberland, or spend £75 and get 25% off in Under Armour. Whilst across the weekend there will also be face painting, caricatures, street market and DJ to join in the celebrations. Just as the Christmas shopping period kicks in, shoppers are encouraged to take advantage of the offers at a wide array of incredible stores, including Boss, Fred Perry, Lacoste, Tommy Hilfiger and many more. Whether you're looking for new sportswear at Puma, New Balance and Adidas, or trend-led autumn-winter pieces from Reiss, Barber and the newly furnished Calvin Klein, there are plenty of shopping opportunities for all. Plus, with new openings this month, including Columbia, Monsoon and Ravensburg, this is not one to be missed. Michelle Whitelaw, Centre Director at Livingston Designer Outlet, said, "We are thrilled to be celebrating 25 years since Livingston Designer Outlet first opened its doors. This is a huge milestone and we are delighted to honour it with offers for new and loyal shoppers who continue to help the centre grow from strength to strength. Now we look forward to what the next 25 years will bring for Livingston Designer Outlet. For more information on Livingston Designer Outlet, please visit the website at livingston-designer-outlet.co.uk. And over to Heather.
Care funding crisis as cash set to run out later this year. Article by Stuart Somerville. West Lothian's crisis in care funding has reached the point where the last of its cash reserves will run out this year, officials have warned. The Integration Joint Board, IJB, which oversees social care services, faces making more cuts or capping services to the most vulnerable in the community. The board has had to rely on using its reserve funds to break even as healthcare budgets have soared in the last few years. Both the NHS and West Lothian Council have also had to pump extra funds into the board's ever-dwindling coffers. It has already cut spending on auxiliary staffing and funding in care homes, care-at-home packages for the elderly, and in adult social care and transport. These services face further cutbacks in coming years, board members, including councillors, have heard. However, services across the spectrum of healthcare, both mental and physical, could be hit in the future. Some of the biggest pressures facing the IGB are in prescription costs, general medicine and minor injuries. Most of these wider costs are in staffing. The board agreed to write to West Lothian Council and NHS Lothian, its co-funders, to highlight the crisis. Hamish Hamilton, the board's chief financial officer, told a meeting, "I'll discuss options for breaking even with both directors of finance in November." He added, "This isn't sustainable and it's very likely that our reserves will run out this financial year. Our financial challenges are unprecedented and to remain sustainable, difficult choices will have to be made. Prioritisation of services and reductions or even caps to services may be required." Delivering his financial forecast for the rest of the year, Mr Hamilton told the board, "It's likely the board will need to rely on the use of one-off resources, IGB reserves or additional payments from the partners to break even this year. Looking forward, even if we were to balance the budget this year, we face a funding gap of £7.4 million next year and a further £6.7 million in 27-28. Any recurring overspend from this year will just add to that gap in the next few years." New chair of the board, John Innes, asked, "Are we flagging that to our co-sponsors, the Council and NHS Lothian?" Mr Hamilton replied, "Both partners are very aware of our position. To put it in context, I believe we are the only IGB in the Lothians that still has a general reserve fund, and across the country, now more than half of IGBs are predicted to have no general reserves by the end of the year. There are 31 IGBs across Scotland." Mr Hamilton stressed, "There cannot be any more cuts without impacting seriously on our services." Mr Innes said, We are as a board need to prepare a note to send back to our parent organisations, clearly identifying the position we find ourselves in, not just from the outrun but also from the current budget. Chief Officer of the Board, Alison White, will work with others to prepare an outline of the board finances to the NHS and local authority. It's likely any extra emergency funding would have to come from Holyrood. And now over to Marcy.
Centre expands with new shops and jobs boost by Ian Bunting. The Centre, Livingston, has added Wingstop and Flying Tiger to its list of 12 new openings and created more than 100 jobs this year. Since the start of 2025, the shopping centre has opened a 90-seater Starbucks, Auntie Anne's, F. Hines, XX Extra, and last month Arrowhead's first darts store in the country. Plans for further openings before Christmas include Wingstop's 4,780 square foot restaurant, Danish lifestyle brand Flying Tiger, Chinese lifestyle brand MINISO, as well as cake books and pizza dogs. Marble Buffet is expected to open its 380-seater restaurant next summer, which will be the restaurant's first site in a Scottish mall. In addition to new openings, various retailers are also expanding and relocating, including JD Sports, which will move from 9,500 square foot to a 14,800 square foot location. Clinton's has just relocated and opened a new look store, which is the first of its kind in Scotland, featuring new furniture, fittings and a refreshed layout. Retailers which have extended their lease also include Lush, Las Iguanas, Foot Locker, Smiggle, Krispy Kreme, Dichmann, Menkind, The Celtic Shop and Subway. The new arrivals add to the existing 150 stores and restaurants at the centre, which spans more than 1 million square feet and attracts around 14.8 million visitors per year. Its owner, LCP UK, has also recently announced expansion plans into the leisure sector, with the opening of a Hollywood Bowl in 2026, featuring 22 lanes, an arcade, bar and dinner. Simon Eatough, Director of LCP UK and Assets Manager of the Centre Livingston, said, "This is really exciting time for us, and we welcome 12 new retailers to our existing wide mix of great places to shop and dine out, and create over 100 new jobs for the local area. The new openings will allow us to strengthen our commitment to revitalising our offerings at the shopping centre and provide something for everyone who visits us. We will continue to add even more new global brands to our portfolio to ensure we remain firmly on the Scottish map as the number one shopping centre to visit, with further announcements coming soon." And over to Jessica.
Pinning down plans for licence, an article by Stuart Somerville. The soon-to-open Hollywood Bowl in Livingston has won a change to its licence to allow children as young as 10 to attend without adult supervision. A lawyer for the firm asked for a variation in the licence granted to the bowling alley and amusement arcade earlier this year, which allows children 12 and over to attend unaccompanied. Despite initial concerns about safeguarding from West Lothian Licensing Board, the managing director and legal representatives gave assurances that youngsters would be safe and only allowed access to age-restricted arcade games. A lawyer for the firm said, "In the company's other premises across the country, it wouldn't be unusual for 10 or 11-year-olds to come into these premises with friends or older siblings, but without someone who's over 18. You can easily envisage a time where parents would want some time to go and do some Christmas shopping with the kids and let their kids go and play in the arcade for half an hour until the presents were put in the car. That's particularly relevant given its location within the centre. We're also talking about 10, 11 and 12-year-olds here. They're at the stage where they want some independence to go bowling with friends. Rather than staying, the parents might go round the corner for a coffee and give them that little bit of independence, but with that safety net nearby. It's those scenarios that we want to be able to cater for. This is a family-friendly space." The lawyer added that it was quite difficult to gauge the age of children at 12, and the firm wanted to avoid the situation of having to ID every child at the door. The lawyer also detailed the firm's safeguarding policies and training, with staff overseeing the arcade games area in the centres. She added, "I hope all of this together demonstrates to the board how seriously the firm take its responsibilities and the time and resources we have put into getting these policies right. This is an experienced operator." Hollywood Bowl is preparing for a new facility in the old Debenham store in Livingston Centre. It plans 22 bowling lanes, an amusement area and a bar and diner. Darryl Lewis, the National Managing Director of Hollywood Bowl, assured councillors that the amusements are checked constantly by staff walking around. He added duty managers would do checks every 30 or 40 minutes. Conservative Damien Doran-Timpson said, "I do not see a massive difference between if a young person is 12, 11 or 10. Proof of age at that age is very rare. At the moment, how are the young challenged and what happens when they are challenged? Mr. Lewis explained that it happens rarely at the moment because Hollywood Bowl currently only has a similar licensing restriction in Inverness. As this centre is out of town, it does not get a lot of younger children unaccompanied. Many 12 to 14-year-olds are expected to come into the Livingston Centre because of its location. Mr. Lewis told the board, "My challenge query was based on my 11-year-old granddaughter who looks 13 or 14 and doesn't carry ID. I take licensing very seriously and I want to do the best job we can." Reservations about child protection policies were also raised by fellow Conservative Alison Adamson and Labour's George Paul. The board was advised on current children's admission policies to licensed premises by Licensing Standards Officer Douglas Frood and Clerk to the board Jessica Chan. After a short meeting in private, the board reconvened and offered Hollywood Bowl the concession. Chairman of the board, Councillor Tony Boyle, said that he had grave reservations but was prepared to accept the variation given and what the board had heard. This was seconded by Councillor Doran Timpson. And over to Margaret.
Sponsorship drive can be lifeline to the elderly. A charity highlighted how sponsorship makes a difference as individuals and businesses are urged to sponsor boxes which carry lifeline shopping deliveries to older people in their homes. Food Train has declared this month Boxtober, launching a sponsorship drive to help ensure older people in West Lothian do not go without lifeline shopping supplies. The charity has opened its annual fundraising campaign, through which people can sponsor the boxes which carry essential groceries delivered to those who would otherwise struggle with shopping for just £10 each. In its 30th anniversary year, Food Train, whose volunteers collect and deliver weekly shopping supplies across the region, hopes to have 500 boxes sponsored nationally. Emma Black, Food Train's National Fundraising and Marketing Manager, said, "As we enter the third year of the cost of living crisis, many of our members are still cutting back on the food they are eating and the way they are heating their homes. Our dedicated volunteers help them make cost-effective choices and explore new options for their weekly groceries. For just £10, that's under 3p a day, you can sponsor a box for a year, making a lasting impact and helping our volunteers to support those who need it. Sponsoring a box is a simple act, but it genuinely makes a difference. It has become a valuable part of our work to ensure we are best equipped to meet the demands we face. Each box sponsored in West Lothian will stay in the region and will be labelled to recognise the donation for 12 months. Companies can also have their logos included. The Boxtober campaign comes as Food Train also seeks more volunteers to support its shopping service across the region. People can support its work by completing shopping lists in supermarkets or delivering them. More information is available at thefoodtrain.co.uk. To support the Boxtober campaign, or for more details, go to thefoodtrain.enthuse.com/sponsor a box. And over to Heather.
And we'll now finish up with a round of sport. Livingston versus Motherwell. Boss relishes well battle. New gaffers in Prem refreshing for Davy. Article by Paul Thompson. Livingston boss David Martindale admits it's refreshing to have some new faces in the Premiership this season and is looking forward to locking horns with Motherwell boss Jens Berthel Askow this weekend and new Rangers head coach Danny Roll next month. The Lions welcome the new look Steelmen to West Lothian on Saturday, and a game which could see Martindale's men climb off the bottom of the table with a win. Danish gaffer Jens Berthel Askow has won plaudits for his style of play, and while that hasn't translated into results yet, with well 2 points above the Lions, Martindale is relishing the new challenge from Askow, as well as newly appointed Gers gaffer Roll, who will take on Livingston at Ibrox on November 22nd. Martindale said, "I'm looking forward to the challenge against Motherwell. It is a new manager in the league from outside Scotland, so I'm looking forward to how he is going to approach the game and managing against his team. It will be the same in a few weeks when the time comes to face Danny Roll. I find it fairly refreshing to manage against different management styles and techniques, because the one thing I don't enjoy about the Scottish Premiership is how mundane it can be playing against the 12 teams in a season. I will look forward to facing both of them. But I am focused on us and not really what Motherwell are going to do. We know they have a different style and a new manager, but we are the home team and we will be looking at what we can do. It is maybe different in terms of style, but every time we play Motherwell, it is very tight. There's not much between the clubs. Both Livy and Well go into Saturday's clash off the back of disappointing defeats, with the Lions thumped 4-0 by Hibs and Motherwell blowing an early lead in a 2-1 defeat at home to Falkirk. Martindale added, "We let ourselves down against Hibs, myself included. We've got to do better. The performance wasn't there, so it was really disappointing. If you look at Motherwell, they will be disappointed they lost to Falkirk. So you're looking at two clubs going into this game really looking to win. We've had a difficult start to life back in the Premiership. That's 6 games away from home and 3 at home, and it's difficult to win games of football away from home. So we are in a different position at home." And now over to Marcy.
Broxburn close in on leaders. Broxburn assistant boss Sean Rycroft reckoned they produced their strongest half of the season as they bounced back from from conceding an early goal to sink Civil Service Strollers 3-1. The Alban Park side fell behind to Dos Santos' second minute strike, but John Robertson cancelled that out 6 minutes later before a Chris O'Kane double, netting in 22 and 32 minutes, sealed the win by half-time. It's now 5 league wins in a row for Brox, and it puts them within 5 of leaders Clydebank and to within 2 of local rivals Linlithgow, who have a game in hand. Roycroft said, "This is a really tough place to come to, and Civil were in really good form as well. They'd won their last 3 games, so to get the win is brilliant for us and gives us a bit of momentum. We bounced back pretty quickly from their goal, and once we got the goal back, we absolutely bossed it. I think that was one of our strongest halves this season. In the second half, we were a wee bit off it, but we saw it out." He added, "Momentum is such a big thing in football. We've done well to win games. It is still very early in the season, but it is nice to look up and target the top 2. Cowdenbeath now visit Brox on Saturday." And over to Jessica.
Only May is up for Lions after defeat. Stevie May insists Livingston are going to have to stop conceding sloppy goals if they are to have any chance of surviving in the Premiership. The Lions never looked like taking anything from Easter Road, and they were undone by goals at the start of both halves as Hibs took command. The heavy 4-0 defeat saw Davy Martindale's side drop to the basement after 9 games. And even though the experienced striker is not bothered by how the table looks at this stage, he concedes Livingston needs to make drastic improvements. May said, "Personally, I've been bottom of the table plenty of times and not been relegated. It's a long season. It's about being better in what we can do, and we've shown it in other games. I think in a lot of those games we probably should have gained way more points than we have, but it's down to us as a team to go and make it right. I think from our point of view, it was 2 really bad goals at bad times that made it hard for us. It's going to be a tough season if we keep making mistakes like that at crucial times, so it's back to the drawing board. We need to get back better and go again against Motherwell, because before Saturday there had been a lot of positive performances and that wasn't one of them. We've come back from a goal and 2 goals down in other games, and we have to keep trying. I thought outside the goals the game wasn't too bad, but conceding makes it easier for them. When they're ahead, they can probably sit back a little bit more. Livingston were not helped by having to make changes during the game, with defenders Shane Blaney, Danny Wilson and Adam Montgomery going off, and Conor McLennan suffering suspected concussion. And with skipper Ryan McGowan also missing out, May admits it is all hands on deck. He added, "We've got a really big squad, which is helpful in times like this. Obviously, Gowser is a huge miss. He's the captain, and he's been superb for us since I've been here. He was probably player of the season last year and started this season strong as well, so it'll be a big one to get him back. He's our captain, a huge influence, but there's no excuse for days like that. It's got to be better. No one's happy in that changing room with how it went. There were too many slack goals." And there's a picture of Stevie May playing during the Hibs game. He has got possession of the ball, but the caption reads, "Must do better." And over to Marcy. Over to Margaret.
No lack of action in penultimate race wall meet. There was no shortage of action at the Cowdenbeath race wall on Saturday night when the micro-banger drivers raced for their Scottish Supreme Championship. Amongst the local drivers racing were Sean McConaughey and Dale McArdle. The Supreme race was the first of the evening, and when it started, McConaughey charged through into the lead, whilst McArdle was caught up in the action and was soon sidelined. However, McConaughey was spun out of the lead and failed to finish. In the first heat, which followed, McConaughey held from start to finish, with McArdle ending up in 6th place. In Heat 2, McConaughey had to settle for the runner-up position, with McArdle again 6th. However, neither driver finished the Destruction Derby. In the saloons, the opening heat was the final of the White-Yellow Challenge series, and whilst Longridge's Nicole Russell was in action, she had to be content with a 10th-place finish. The Dale's Jordan Casey joined in for the main races, where he was 10th in the first and 7th in the second. There was plenty of action in the second, where he made good progress to bring his car home in 8th place. The stock car season at Racewall ends next week with a host of titles up for grabs. The main saloon races are for the Super Bowl and the Gordon Barclay Memorial Trophy, whilst the Formula 2s have their Champion of Champions and James Clark Cochrane Memorial Trophy. The Minis race for their Sharpies Trophy, whilst the Classic Hot Rods have their Cock of the North Trophy. At the weekend, the meetings start at 4:30 on Saturday and 1 p.m. on Sunday. And over to Heather.
And that brings us to the end of this week's recording. We hope you have enjoyed it. So it's goodbye from the members of Team 6, Heather, Marcy, Jessica and Margaret, and our engineer, Gordon.